On Sunday, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan warned that there is now, surprise, of the war, but it is also the second stage for Israel's enemies. That's what the IDF faces. Hamas knows innocents will die to be able to kill the bad guys. For Israel, they have declared a second stage. How do you destroy that when there is a hospital on top? Hospital in Gaza City. Tunnels sprawl out from there, connecting terrorists to planning rooms, barracks, logistics, and other parts of the city. Hamas build their headquarters directly underneath the largest. Well, Hamas has built an expansive tunnel network specifically to fight this war. And to give you an idea of what the IDF is looking at, I want you to see this animation. And why is it going to be so bloody? This is going to be bloody and brutal. Israel predicts the entire operation to dismantle Hamas will take months to complete. Why? Reuters shows how the IDF has opened up a multi-front invasion force in Gaza. And so far, they're moving very slowly. There are still some 200 hostages being held by Hamas, and it appears Israel is giving Hamas a chance to negotiate their release. Yesterday, Israel's defense minister said Hamas had two choices: surrender to the IDF or die. And Israel has every right to go in, dismantle Hamas, and kill every terrorist that is a threat to them. This graphic from, well, despite most of the West, Iran, Russia, China, basically everyone, is trying to get Israel to back down. The ground invasion of Gaza began, but at the very least, and as I'll show you later on in the show, what is happening right now in Israel is propelling the world towards a new world order. Sides are being formed, pursuing their own agendas. And depending on how all of this plays out, the world may look very, very different in the years to come. So let's start at the beginning. Where do we currently stand? And does it look like this? What would it look like? I don't want to sound like a warmonger, because I don't want to fight Jewish or Israel's battles. I want them to be able to have the right to defend themselves. I'm concerned that we stay on the right side of this. And I am not saying that this is the war or the time, but it is the seriousness of what is currently happening. We're told we won't know the hour, we won't know the time, but watch for these signs. There's lots of these signs out there. We're going to do a program on that later to come. What are the signs? You haven't been paying attention. These are not bedtime stories, and if you're Christian and Jewish and Muslim, this is very real. If you're a Christian, you've probably not only read Ezekiel, but also Revelation, which expands on Gog and Magog, the armies of the four corners of the earth that lead to the final battle of Armageddon. It will involve the entire world descending on the same spot that is now in full-fledged war. If you don't think that's possible, they've also read Ezekiel. The words Gog and Magog have a very real meaning for Jews. Ezekiel speaks of great armies descending upon Israel from multiple directions. For them, this is real. Unprecedented rise, not of anti-Semitism, but hate all over the world. But this is really bad if you're a Jew. Not only are they being killed in their homeland, they're watching in who's guilty. To talk about this war, because who's innocent, whether you're Jewish, Christian, Muslim, whatever, to hear talk of war makes people uncomfortable because we don't like to see dead people on any side. And it's uncomfortable for everyone.
I want to make clear Israel's position regarding a ceasefire. Just as the United States would not agree to a ceasefire after the bombing of Pearl Harbor or after the terrorist attack of 9/11, Israel will not agree to a cessation of hostilities with Hamas after the horrific attacks of October 7th. Calls for a ceasefire are calls for Israel to surrender to Hamas, to surrender to terrorism, to surrender to barbarism. That will not happen. Ladies and gentlemen, the Bible says that there is a time for peace and a time for war. This is a time for war.
Tonight, I want to start with a statement that came out yesterday from Prime Minister Netanyahu. Watch. Hello, America. Well, I'm worried that this time uprisings in the Middle East could be our final Archduke Ferdinand moment. Tonight, I will show you the signs that several powerful nations are gearing up for a potential worldwide battle. New York City doctor posting on social media that this wasn't terrorism, it was liberation. Families and seemingly ordinary Americans like this ferment throughout the entire Western world at levels that I never imagined we would see. Swastikas on Jewish-owned storefronts, attacks against Jewish evil, cold-blooded evil demonstrated by Hamas against Jews last month is beginning to striking. They are striking at us yet again, and this time, the violence and president, we are over 10 years ago, I was right, but I was also wrong, because now I know that that was only the beginning. The Middle East went dormant again, but now likely in part due to our failure of a Marxists, and you combine them with the radical from Islam. When you combine those two forces, which is exactly, we'll show you this week, what is happening here, the whole world starts to implode. This is not just happenstance. This is not just poor people mad at rich people. This is coordinated. Watch. When you take the warned that the rise of violence in the Middle East would soon cascade into every American city as well.